Hi everyone, this is Jonathan here, and we're going to take a short intermission before heading over to the next video where we're going to add the next thing in the Laser Defender project. And right now I'm just going to challenge you to add a few things to Laser Defender, which you should be able to do. So I want you to add the small explosion effect that we created in the first video, or the second video. The one that's not a complete explosion, but just appears when either the player ship or enemy ship takes damage. Then add some sound effects that will play whenever either your ship or the enemy ships take damage. And as a reminder, you can get free sound effects off of freesound.org. Then add a separate sound effect when either the player ship or enemy ship dies, and you can use the same sound effect or a different one, that's your choice. Make sure that all the sounds are calibrated at appropriate volume levels, and as a bonus, if you can figure out how to do this, add a small delay between when your player ship dies and the lose screen loads, because right now that happens instantly. So pause the video and give that a go. Okay, welcome back. If you were able to do all that and figured it out, great, just go on to the next video. If not, hang around and watch how it is done. So I'm going to go right into Unity, and you can see I already imported a bunch of different sounds in addition to the ones that the instructors put on here from the Udemy course. And when you put the sounds in, just make sure that you uncheck the 3D sound box if you're using Unity 4. If you're using Unity 5, I believe they're 2D sounds by default if you're importing them into a 2D project, but don't quote me on that. So just go in and check to see if there are 2D sounds, no matter what version of Unity you're using. So first things first, we already have the big explosion effect on the enemy prefab. So where is it here? It's enemies, and let's see, and actually we already added the small explosion effect from the first video. So now it's just time to add that in through the code. So I'm going to open up the enemy behavior script, and we're going to instantiate that as a new game object. So let's see, enemy behavior script. So I called it small explosion, and let's just do a control search here to find out where things are. Also, I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. So here's where we instantiate the big explosion, and I'm just going to copy this line of code here. I'm going to cheat, and I'm just going to change what I need to change. So let's see, this is where the enemy ship gets hit. So I can just paste this right here, and I can just change this from explosion to small explosion. And just as a point here, because we're creating the new game object within different methods, we can actually leave this as the same name, new explosion over here and new explosion over here, and those will be treated as separate game objects even though we're giving them the same name. It just depends on where you actually name them. So again, just to be good about it, I'll test it out, make sure that it is being created when it's being hit. And yep, there you can see it. The small explosion effect is happening, and then the big explosion effect is happening separately. So that's good, that's working perfectly. And now I'm just going to add those same explosion effects onto my player ship. So let's go open up the player controller script. I think it's actually already open. It is over here. So I'm basically going to save time and copy a lot of this code over and just reuse it. Nothing wrong with doing that as long as you know it's going to work. So I created those game objects. Those show up here, and now I need to attach those prefabs. So here's a small explosion, and here's the big explosion. And I will apply those changes because I put it on the object here and not the prefab. Not the best practice, but as long as you remember to apply it, you're okay. And once again, I'm just going to copy over these explosion effects, save myself from having to type it out all over again. So let's look for where the player dies. Void die right here, perfect. So I'm just going to put this above here before we load the level manager, and this is going to be the big explosion. No, not a sex explosion. Okay, there we go. You didn't see that. You totally saw that. And now we're going to look for, okay, here it is, same spot. Here's where the player takes damage. And also I'm going to get rid of this debug.log statement. We know they're getting hit. We don't need that there. Okay, and once again, just going to test that out. Make sure that my ship takes damage and explodes. If I can get hit. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. And you can just see the beginning of that big explosion happening there. So good, that works too. Okay, time to add some sound effects. I'm just going to drag this up so I can see things a little bit easier here. And let's figure out which sound effects I want to add. I don't remember what all these ones sound like here, but I'm just going to go into my folder where I copied them from. Nope, that's not the one I want. Not that one. That might work. Okay, well there's a sound effect for the enemy ships dying, explosive impact. So I want that. Go back over to the enemy prefab. I'm going to need to go back into the code and create a public audio clip. I'll just call this death sound. Save that. And actually, I already know I'm going to need a couple, so I'm going to do this right off the bat. So I'm going to call it hit sound and death sound. And you can just name them over here. They'll both show up. And I'm going to copy this over and add this to the enemy behavior script too, because it's going to be basically the same thing. And now we're going to go attach whatever sound effects we want. And it has the option to be type enemy behavior already contains a definition for death sound. Is that already named? Oh! Public audio clip, death sound. Right, he already makes a sound effect when he dies. I guess I forgot about that. Okay, so we don't want that. Don't double name your variables or else that's going to cause problems. But we can still add a got hit sound. I totally forgot that he already makes a sound when he dies. So if you already caught that before I did, good job. If not, sorry for messing with your head like that. So, player, hit sound, death sound. The player did not have a death sound before, so that's okay. Again, I'm just going to figure out which sound I want to add. Hard hit, that's pretty good for getting hit. No, we already used that one. So I want that to be powered down to be my player death sound. Power down, power down. Where are you, power down? Here you are. And hard hit, I believe that was the one I want for my hit sound. And again, we'll just check the enemy prefab. He has small death sound as sound effect lose. That's fine. I'll just also put the hard hit on here for the hit sound for the enemy ship. Okay, that's good. Now, by the way, I could save. This is 3 lines of code, and really should just condense all 3 of these lines of code into 1 line, but I'm not going to do that right now. You can go ahead and do that. Okay, so audio source, play clip at point, that's already happening. I'm just looking for this code because, again, I'm taking the easy route and I'm going to just copy paste where it's applicable to save time, and it's just not a bad practice to get into if you know that you can do it. So we have death sound here, that's fine. Now we want hit sound over here. And I'm going to put that same code here on the player controller. So we see that we're initiating the explosions, we can just put those in already. Hit sound, and here's the die. So we will also put a death sound over there. Okay, test it out one more time. Yep. And you're not hearing the death sound there on the player ship, but again, that's because the level is loading too quickly. So it's not having a chance to actually play that before the next level loads. So let's just see, was there anything else? Make sure they're all at appropriate volume levels. That sounded pretty good to me. Okay, so next let's talk about adding this delay in before the next level actually loads. So what we're going to have to do here is go into, what is it, death, void die. Okay, so before we actually get the player to die, we're going to invoke a method that we haven't actually created yet. But we're going to call it death delay, and we're going to invoke that after 3 seconds. And now with this stuff here about loading the level manager, we're going to go down here and create a new method. We're going to call it void death delay. It's not going to take any arguments, and we're just going to go ahead and paste this code in here. And now let's test and see if that works. Come on, kill me, kill me. Okay, and it does work. Of course, I put the code, I copied some of the wrong code over. I do want the player ship to be destroyed right away. So actually, I didn't necessarily put the wrong code over, but I just did not do it properly. Okay, yeah, so here's where we're destroying the game object. So we actually do want the game object to be destroyed right away. We just don't want the next screen to be loaded right away. So before we invoke death delay, we're going to put destroy game object there. Try that out one more time. And there we go. You saw the big explosion, you heard the sound effect. And that's how you can do, by the way, obviously a very simple delay. You just type invoke, you put the name of the method you want, and whatever the number is, that is in seconds how long it has before this invoke is called. So it's a pretty cool, very powerful, and useful function. I hope you learned something from this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.